We're beginning to see more signs of the economy on the brink. So this is not a good situation, and we're on borrowed time. Just in, U.S. Steel closing mill, laying off 1,500 Detroit workers. That was reported in The Hill. Everybody knows the story of Detroit at this point. It was obliterated by corporate outsourcing deals, and, city took a massive hit, struggling a lot. And then now you have 1,500 Detroit workers being laid off from U.S. Steel. Was it also, I'm not sure, was the Cruise plant in Michigan? No, that was Lordstown, Ohio. So that recently shut down. This steel plant is now shutting down. I don't know if you guys remember the story of Carrier. Remember when Donald Trump pretended to save the Carrier company and all those factory jobs? And then over the course of the next year and a half, slowly but surely, they secretly outsourced anyway. And this is after the deal that Trump made to save Carrier was just, giving them a massive subsidy. So they took the subsidy, which means they hosed the taxpayers, and then they outsourced the jobs anyway. So it was a giant ruse. It was just a temporary move to make it look like Trump won, and then they turned around and did the thing where they outsourced anyway. So this is a guy who ran on the notion of, I'm going to fight outsourcing. I'm going to make sure we keep the jobs here. And I told you, you guys know this fact because I bring it up all the time. 93,000 jobs were outsourced in his first year as president, which is above and beyond that of Obama's last year. Obama's last year, there were 87,000 jobs that were outsourced. Trump's first year eclipsed that. And remember, Trump is the guy who ran as, I'm the anti-outsourcing guy. I'm going to keep the jobs here. I'm going to make sure that, we don't have this downturn. So, but we're just getting started here with that story. Look at this one. More than 9,300 stores closed in 2019. 9,300. 2019 was another bruising year for many American retailers despite healthy consumers and a strong economy. Depends on how you measure it with that line, of course. This year, U.S. retailers announced 9,302 store closings, a 59% jump from 2018, and the highest number since Coresight Research began tracking the data in 2012. Bankruptcies in the retail sector intensified this year, and many struggling chains cut stores. That led to a spike in closings. Payless, Gymboree, Charlotte Russe, I never heard of that store, and Shopko all filed for bankruptcy and closed a combined 3,720 stores, according to Coresight. The majority of those were because of Payless, which filed for its second bankruptcy in February and shuttered 2,100 U.S. stores. Discount chain Fred's filed for bankruptcy in September. I don't know where I got 2017 from, and closed 564 stores. Forever 21 also filed for bankruptcy that month and said it will close up to 178 stores. Forever 21's closures are not in Coresight's report since they are not finalized. Other retailers such as Ann Taylor, Parent Ascena Retail, Family Dollar, GNC, Walgreens, Signet Jewelers, Victoria's Secret, and JCPenney slashed their store footprints to save money and prop up higher performing stores. Uh-oh. Now, this is something I've talked about on this show for a long time, which is I don't even know what the catalyst of the next crash will be. I just know we're going to have another crash. And so there's a million things you could point to. You could literally point to the housing market, which is the thing that caused the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession in the first place in 2008, a little over a decade ago. It could be that again. It absolutely could be that again. No doubt about it. It could be the student loan debt crisis. We have over $1 trillion in student loan debt. Could be the credit card debt crisis. We have over $1 trillion in credit card debt. It could have something to do with the derivatives market, which is a giant unregulated casino capitalist marketplace that very few people even understand to begin with. And now, apparently, we have a little bit of a retail crisis. Well, I mean, obviously, we have the crisis of outsourcing, which has been going on for a long time as well. And you have the crisis of automation, the end of retail stores, and more of a move towards online shopping. So there's a giant upheaval going on in the economy right now. And dealing with it is going to be incredibly difficult, especially since... So the crash is coming, it's just a matter of when. It's a terrifying thing because if the crash comes with a Republican in office, they're going to do exactly the wrong thing and they're going to exacerbate the crisis. Namely, they'll cut government spending, which will spiral us further and further down the deep dark hole, and it'll be either a recession and maybe even a depression at some point. So that's a giant problem. But even if you have a Democrat in office, we can't afford these milquetoast tweaks anymore. Like, that's what Obama did. He put a Band-Aid over a gaping gangrenous wound. He bailed out GM, which I think was a good move, but he also bailed out Wall Street and didn't prosecute any bankers. I think that was a terrible move. And then he also did Dodd-Frank, the Dodd-Frank reform. Wasn't nearly strong enough. It did like 20% of everything it should have done. It didn't even bring back Glass-Steagall, which is absolutely necessary. So you need to have an FDR-style character in office when the crash hits, dog, or else we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. And, you know, you're going to need something similar to the jobs program that FDR set up, the public works program. You're going to need new social safety net programs. You're going to need new universal programs to soften the brunt of this. You're going to need healthcare. Like, the basics should be off the table, and then after that, we need to have a serious discussion as to the direction of the economy when the crash hits. And that's the thing. That's why you really need somebody in office who believes in a New Deal or a Green New Deal. Like, when the crash hits, we could literally go right to that FDR playbook again and say, oh, he did the New Deal, built the infrastructure. If a crash hits again, we have the roadmap. Do a Green New Deal. Build the infrastructure, green and renewable technology, rebuild roads, bridges, airports, get people to work. We can do that, but it's a terrifying thought that you might have a Republican or a corporate Democrat in office when the crash hits. And, you know, listen, they will... The thing is, every time there's a recession or a depression, the partisans are going to be out there making their own case. And the Republicans will always say, oh, no, the problem is... the government was too involved in the first place. That's what led to the crash, is too much government involvement. And so let's go in the direction where there's no government. So let's cut regulation more. Let's cut taxes for the rich more. Let's cut social spending more. So that'll be the argument they make. So in other words, exacerbate the crisis and pretend like that's the solution. That's what's going to happen. By the same token, back in 2008 when we had the crash, one of the top-selling books was Ayn Rand, because people were looking for why did the crash happen and what could we do to prevent another one? And they went in the exact wrong direction. And they went towards more of what would cause the problem. And so you just got to hope that that ideology is not there. But no matter what happens, there will be people saying that we need to go more in that direction when the crash hits. And so the left better knuckle up and get ready, because we have to make the counter argument and we have to let everybody know we have the roadmap. The roadmap is what FDR did. And when the crash hits, we're going to have to go in a similar direction like he did. And that's really the only way we can avert a worst case scenario with tremendous suffering, because there's too much going on in this economy that's completely unstable. And it doesn't help that our government is totally corrupted in the process as well. So prepare yourself.